When the dream marriage of millions of global fans shattered, there were supporters of Brad Pitt and defenders of Angelina Jolie. But no matter which side they were on, people felt sorry for the children who were turned into tools for retaliation. The divorce of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie is considered a historic Hollywood divorce. Both involved are major stars, globally influential artists, frequently listed among the most desired men and women on the planet, and incredibly wealthy with countless properties around the world. But it would have been better if they had only demanded money from each other. Because money, no matter how difficult, can be divided. And often it is easily divided. Just like the romantic pirate Johnny Depp and the gold digger Amber Heard. It seemed like they were fighting tooth and nail over money, but in the end, it was all settled peacefully. Or like Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, despite how much the former Charlie's Angel resented her young husband and found every possible way to provoke him by demanding an unreasonable amount of alimony to prolong the divorce process, they eventually resolved it. The Brangelina divorce isn't that simple. This time, what has to be divided and contested isn't money, but people. Sooner or later, the divorce will conclude under the skilled hands of renowned American lawyers. But the scars will remain. Unfortunately, those scars lie in the hearts of the innocent children. The divorce battle between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie has been raging for the past 8 years. During this time, their story has been as tense, mysterious, intriguing, and surprising as a series of dramatic sitcoms mixed with thrilling detective stories. There are enough tears, laughter, astonishment, bitterness, anger, and suspense. No one knows what the real thoughts of those involved are, what actions they will take, or what cards they will play to the media. At first, the world almost entirely sided with Angelina Jolie. After all, rumors of Brad Pitt's real-life romance with the French Rose, Marion Cotillard, had been circulating for months. Old habits die hard. Brad's past indiscretions were brought up again. A man who once cheated on his wife with a co-star to the point of leaving his wife wasn't surprising anyone by cheating again. But Angelina Jolie is not Jennifer Aniston, bewildered and helplessly watching Brad carry his suitcase out of the house to be with an alluring lover. Many people relished Mrs. Smith's way of punishing her unfaithful husband, suddenly filing for divorce, seeking full custody of the children, and unilaterally announcing it to the media. At that time, the star of Tomb Raider successfully rallied the whole world to her side. In the public's eyes, she was a strong and resolute woman in marriage, not clinging when love was gone, and leaving honorably with the children she considered treasures. She showed no regret. She had enough self-respect not to need a penny of alimony from her husband's immense fortune. She didn't even need his involvement in the care, education, and upbringing of their 6 children. "Without you, the kids and I will still live well," the message in Angelina Jolie's unilateral divorce action resonated with housewives around the globe. Nothing humiliates a man more than proving he holds no value to the woman he once shared a life with and to his children. And Brad, the man who reverted to his old ways, betraying the woman once considered the most beautiful on the planet for another alluring woman, had to face the consequences. Besides, a man who is unfaithful often goes hand in hand with being irresponsible. Surely, while Angelina Jolie was busy with the children at home, he was off somewhere infatuated with his beautiful lover. To him, the children were likely secondary. So, when Brad appeared in the media with weak, visibly shocked, and heartbroken statements, many people felt even more satisfied. However, they quickly shifted from satisfaction to sympathy, from sympathy to astonishment, and from astonishment to anger due to Angelina Jolie's cold and somewhat ruthless behavior. Unfavorable information about Brad was deliberately leaked by Angelina Jolie's side through various channels. Brad was accused by his wife of being addicted to alcohol and drugs, unable to control his anger, and of mistreating the children. The climax of this was on a flight where Brad was allegedly drunk and mistreated their eldest son, Maddox. The term mistreat was left vague by Angelina's side, which only added to the ambiguity. But because it was associated with drunkenness, many believed the actor had physically assaulted his son. Meanwhile, witnesses at the airport admitted to seeing Brad raising his voice at his son when the plane landed. Moreover, the FBI and the U.S. Child Protection Services got involved in the investigation, indicating the seriousness of the situation and suggesting that Brad Pitt indeed had issues. All disadvantages piled onto Brad. It turned out that the world's sexiest man was not the dream man people thought him to be. Besides being a philanderer, he was also a substance abuser and a child abuser. An article accusing Brad of being a party-loving person was also released, with anonymous witnesses contributing to the claims. But when Brad spoke up, denying any allegations of beating his children, agreeing to undergo all substance abuse tests, and accepting to visit his children under the supervision of a therapist, the public's perception of him began to change. Brad stated that he was civilized enough not to hit his children and that he was not that type of person. He said he was willing to take tests to prove he was not addicted to any substances. Brad also mentioned that he didn't mind having a therapist present as long as he could see his children. And Brad did exactly what he said. Authorities were still investigating the allegations from Angelina Jolie. No additional evidence had been presented. Meanwhile, Brad, on one hand, remained humble and cooperatively worked with his ex-wife just to see his children as much as possible. On the other hand, he filed a countersuit to Angelina's divorce request, seeking joint custody of the children. Brad demonstrated that he was prepared to prolong this legal battle, showing neither concession nor retreat. Meanwhile, for the past 8 years, Angelina has only allowed Brad to see their children for brief periods under her strict supervision. Even though Angelina appeared to be manipulating the media, she had no additional evidence to accuse Brad of child abuse beyond the still unclear incident involving Maddox. Public sentiment shifted from defending Angelina to criticizing her for being too cold-blooded. Her unilateral divorce action and fight for sole custody were no longer seen as acts of strength and determination but rather as methods of retaliation, punishment, or revenge against her partner. And the tools she used were their 6 children, 3 biological and 3 adopted. Frequently lost control in fits of anger, someone as strong and determined as Angelina would not have lived with him for 10 years. Likewise, if Brad were unfit to be a father, she wouldn't have married him 2 years prior. As an anonymous source put it, if Brad abused the kids, Angelina would have beaten him to death. Angelina herself had often praised Brad's parenting. She once commended her husband, saying, "I tend to be a strict parent, but since the birth of our twins, Brad has had to take on the role of the strict father more often." But how you interact with your children also depends on each child's personality. Brad has a special bond with Maddox because he's very intelligent, and Brad enjoys teaching him about history, art, and culture. It's wonderful to see the two of them together. I think I'm a bit closer to the girls, but he can always make them laugh. The way Brad happily accompanied Angelina around the world for her humanitarian activities, agreed with her decision to adopt children, joyfully captured moments of his wife playing with their children or breastfeeding, and willingly rearranged his work to take care of the kids while she was busy filming. All of this shows that he was not a bad husband or father. Objectively speaking, even if Brad Pitt had flaws within their home, they were not severe enough for Angelina Jolie to prevent him from having custody of the children. Brad Pitt's earnest desire to see his children also demonstrated that he had never been an irresponsible father to warrant such severe punishment. This earnestness also revealed part of the reason behind Angelina's firm actions. She knew Brad loved his children deeply and would be devastated if he lost custody. Isn't that right, Angelina Jolie? But Angelina disregarded the children's feelings to punish Brad for her satisfaction. Just as a father separated from his children feels adrift, the children separated from their father feel just as lost. They are entirely innocent in the battle between their parents. Yet, they are turned into the center of the conflict, used as the reason for the fight, and wielded as effective weapons in the struggle. Hating each other, resenting each other, and unable to live together? Then just quietly part ways. Angelina had all the advantages over Brad, including living with all 6 children. So why did she need to vehemently block Brad's custody rights, especially when he was a father beloved by the children? If not because of deep-seated resentment and selfishness, Angelina Jolie may be confident in her decision. She may be confident that she deserves full custody of the children. She may be confident that she has the capability, intelligence, and dignity to raise the children well. She may be confident that her children don't need their father's presence to grow up well. She can also be entirely confident that with her wealth, her children can have the best life without needing support from their father. But as a UN Goodwill ambassador who has traveled the world for disadvantaged and troubled children, who has adopted 3 orphans, doesn't she know, to raise a child to become a mature and happy person, an educated mother alone isn't enough, a wealthy mother alone isn't enough, even a mother with both education and wealth isn't enough. Only a happy mother can do that. Is Angelina a happy mother? Perhaps only she can answer that.